Glenn, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming to MaxAroma headquarters and participating in Aroma Talk.
Yeah, it's good
Yeah.
to be here. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me. You and MaxAroma in general has been really gracious to myself as a content creator, and it feels good to be in the chair.
Oh, sure, of course, man. I mean, it's the same thing for us. It's been a pleasure working with you, so far. I think, this collaboration that we had, it's just so seamless.
Yeah.
Everything works really nicely. I like you as a content creator. I love your content. And also as a gentleman, I think, we developed this relationship and friendship that it's just like, I can't even explain it. And you're always welcome here. Anytime, you're in New York City, you're welcome here. It's your second, I don't know, second home, maybe third, fourth home, but
Right.
it's just
Nice place to be.
For sure. Yeah.
Nice place to be.
How's everything, man? How's life?
Life has been good.
Yeah.
Busy, continually innovating in terms of, being a husband, a father, being a better person, being a better nurse, being a better content creator. In the fragrance space, which is what I'm sure most people are curious about, things are also evolving for me. This year, I was included as one of the judges for the Art and Olfaction. Shout out to Saskia Brown over at the Art and Olfaction Awards. So I'm one of the judges this year.
Nice. And when is that happening?
They're announcing the semifinals the 19th of April. And in June, they're going to announce the finalists, the winners of the 2024 Art and Olfaction. So I was a judge for the semifinals, not the finalists, but still good to be included in that grouping, and it just really gives prudence to where content creators / fragrance reviewers have come in the last couple of years.
I think maybe I forgot to mention in the beginning. So Glenn or Mr.Cologne?
It's Mr.Cologne 76.
Yes. So Glenn, I got a couple of questions
Let's do
that I
it.
want to ask you. The first one would be, I've never had the questions before, but I think it's the best time with you coming. I was like, I'm going to get ready for Glenn when he comes in. So I asked him some questions. So can you share with us a scent memory that's particularly very meaningful to you?
My dad, rest in peace, one of his signature scents was Yardley's Gold. So I was born in 76, hence the Mr.Cologne 76. So I was probably 6, 7 years old. And growing up in Trinidad, a little village that I lived in, not everyone owned a vehicle. So it was common to walk everywhere. And we were fortunate enough to have a vehicle. And one day we gave a neighbor a ride. So when they got into the car, they made a really big scene about how great my dad smelled. My father was humble but very confident. They got out the car. And I don't know, I must have said something. And he turned to me and he said, I may not always look good, but I'll always smell good. That story and that fragrance is etched in my brain.
Yeah.
It's etched in my brain.
Oh.
Yeah, I've tracked down that particular fragrance. The bottle looks totally different. I'm 100% certain that it's been reformulated. So, yeah, that's probably one of the most impactful scent memory in terms of fragrances and my fragrance journey.
Is that brand still around?
Yardley's, yeah, it's still around. Like I said, the packaging looks different. At one point, I had a follower in the UK that he found an older bottle, and we were talking about me buying it off for him, but for some reason, yet it never happened. Yeah.
Do you have any favorite perfumers or anyone
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Cecile Zarokian.
Yeah.
I love her work. Francesca Bianchi.
Oh yeah, she's
I love
actually,
her work.
Yeah.
Luke Solomon, Elemental.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
I love what he's doing. Bruno Fazzolari. I tend to really have more connection to the indie perfumers. Not that the master perfumers aren't good. I mean, Francis Kurjan is amazing.
For sure.
Bertrand, amazing perfumer. The indie perfumers, because of their lack of access to proprietary captives, because of their lack of access to the innovation in perfume material and ingredients, they're still creating amazing art, and I have a bigger appreciation for them. There are many perfumers that I really highly respect, but my indie perfumers, Andy Tower.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, same with me. I started to loving that part of it too, even though the big perfumers and massive perfumers are great. But then, I started talking to indie perfumers. It's different. It's a different conversation. It's a different love. It's a different passion. Like, as you said, Luke with Elemental. I met him maybe 4 or 5 times. We did a couple of podcasts. He's just a different gentleman. He's just a different soul, how he puts this knowledge, this love into these fragrances. Aaron Terrence Hughes, I would say, he's the same. There's a lot of love and passion goes into it. I recently started talking to Michael Salazar for Aroma de Salazar. It's also an interesting,
very passionate.
Yeah. So next question. So what's the most unusual inspiration you've encountered for a fragrance?
Gosh, I didn't know that question was coming, but I just mentioned Harmony perfumes with Cleopatra. That was his inspiration. She was the muse for that fragrance, right? But gosh, you can go in so many different directions when you really think of Cleopatra. You have, her badassery and her fighting skills. You have how she looked, but he was able to synthesize that into a fragrance with rose, metal, and leather. And to me, that when you have that synergy between the intention behind the perfumer's idea and how it's expressed in the fragrance, when you have that harmony, I think it's just real magic.
Oh, now I want to try that fragrance, man.
Cleopatra, perfumes, yeah.
Now I have to reach out to him, see if he can, send me a sample, and then.
Here's the truth. The first time I smelled that fragrance, I didn't like it. I did not like it. I was like, what did Trill really do here?
Yeah.
But I had to go back at it, and then something clicked. And when I wear that fragrance, it almost feels like I'm wearing like a cloak, it puts me, a little bit taller. It's just a really nice fragrance.
Nice. Cleopatra. And what was the brand again?
Harmony Perfumes.
Harmony Perfumes. Yeah. Indie perfumer.
Self-taught, and Trill puts out a lot of content, but he shows his process. He shows himself, making these fragrances. And I've seen his trajectory in terms of what he was putting out, in the very beginning and what he's doing today and what it was like in between. And, his evolution as a perfumer has been really great to watch and witness.
And has it been around for like a couple of years?
Trill, probably 4 years.
Wow. Yeah, so I definitely have to check him out.
Yeah, he's changed his package. I mean, he has a brother again doing it himself, which for me I have a great deal of admiration.
Yeah,
doing it himself.
Yeah, it's tough. A to Z of it. It's difficult, man. Like making them, packaging them, doing the marketing, going out there. Yeah. So it's a lot of work. Yeah. So, well, Trill. Wherever you are, you're gonna hear from me soon. I want to try this fragrance.
That would be awesome. Yeah. Shout out to Trill.
For sure. Shout out to him. Yeah. So let's go. So then, what's the most surprising trend you've seen in the perfume industry recently?
Good question. I came to New York for a fragrance launch event, and I feel like I've been seeing a lot of that recently. I like to think that I'm in the know. So if this was happening, I would have seen it. I feel like that has really become a thing. The fragrance launches are becoming more of an event type thing as opposed to just, in store. So that has been a very, very nice change for us.
Sure.
The fragrance launch events, companies are, bringing out influencers, putting people in the same to have conversations because, the social media space is very competitive and sometimes rivalry runs rampant when it's, unbridled. So when you have these opportunities to get in the same room and have conversations, it really changes the dynamic, creates an opportunity for relationships. So I would say the events.
No, I agree. I think also because especially in the US, there's a lack of independent stores and perfumery in the country. There's not that many of them. The business moved mostly into online retail. So then these events now are bringing everyone together. Has been great. And I've seen the potential of it. We had some events that people showed up, like 100 people, and it was actually pretty cool, So in your opinion, what's the hidden gem in the world of fragrances that more people should know about?
That's a great question. So many hidden gems.
Yeah. Maybe recently that you ran into.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me think about this recently, because the thing that came to mind is a fragrance that I've had for a number of years. Recently, I'm going to have to go back to Elemental, Deep Inside.
Oh, yeah.
Very
good.
Seductive statement piece. And I don't think a lot of people know about it. I don't think a lot of people know about Elemental. I mean, there's Cashmere Sex, there's Phantom Bay.
Rich people.
Yeah.
I mean, the newest release that he had, Sex, Love, and Money. This was released for Scent Explore.
Yeah.
Beautiful fragrance.
So I'm gonna go with for a newer fragrance, I'm gonna go with Deep Inside. For an older hidden gem, Uma Guma. Uma Guma from the house of Fizzotic. The perfumer is Bruno Fasolari. It's my holy grail for tobacco. So this is like a perfect example, right? This is my holy grail for tobacco. It's been that way for several years. What he does in that fragrance is he has a whiff of chocolate in the opening. And then it really transitions into this resinous, tobacco-y, incense-y. It almost feels like if you were to open a fresh box of cigarettes, dump them out, and just sniff that box, that caliber of tobacco. If I had to change one thing in that fragrance, I would like the chocolate to last a little bit longer. It's almost like a chocolate-covered tobacco because you eat the chocolate off and it's gone. And you get this beautiful tobacco. But a hidden gem in the fragrance community, I don't understand
why it's not out there.
Yeah, amazing fragrance. Shout out to Bruno Fasolari, just excellent perfumer, independent perfumer.
Next one. So if you could create a fragrance based on your life, what would it include and why?
Wow, I would probably have an ode to Trinidad. I grew up in Trinidad. I'm definitely Trinidadian, despite the fact that my accent has faded so drastically. But I grew up there, and we have unique foods and spices and cultural things that I would love to see expressed in a fragrance.
Wow, that's nice. Do you cook Trinidadian food?
Good question. I do on occasion, not all the time. I've now been out of Trinidad way longer than I was there until I was 17. So I don't cook Trinidad food all the time. But shout out to my beautiful wife. She's on social media, Nosy Couture. And
she's super nice. I've met her a couple of times. Yeah.
Thank you.
Is there a perfumer or like a company coming from Trinidad?
There's City Rhythm. Well, he's not a perfumer. He uses other perfumers. I don't know of a perfumer from Trinidad. I'm 100% certain that there are perfumers there. The one thing about Trinidad is we innovate, we figure out how to do, and with globalizations and cell phones and media, there are stores in Trinidad that look, like the Sephora's over here. I was just on an Instagram page for a store in Trinidad, and you couldn't tell that it wasn't a Sephora.
Wow.
Okay, they got the same influencers and bloggers, and everything that's happening in the United States is still happening in Trinidad. All that to say is I am certain there are people learning to make perfume in Trinidad, and it's just a matter of time before something emerges where it's like, look, this is a perfumer that's on the island making beautiful blends, and it's going to be fire because they're going to have ingredients and creative directive that the other person may not have because of the cultural and historical context.
Yeah. So I got two more questions.
Sure, let's do it.
So how do you think social media has changed the way we experience and talk about perfumes and fragrances?
Fundamentally, it has really revolutionized the fragrance industry in terms of people knowing about scents. Before, when I was a kid, and you could probably relate to this, you got the scent strip in a magazine.
100%.
It came to the house. If you were lucky, they had a little pouch. You could rip it off and peel it open and pour it in yourself, right? So before, that's how you learned about fragrances, or you saw an ad at the bus stop. Now, you just get on social media. You get on social media and you're seeing someone talk about a fragrance. It may range from their listing of the notes. It may be a reviewer that's providing context of how it made them feel. It may be someone with their own twists on content creation. Shout out to Olivia Olfactory. She does a very good job of articulating fragrances in her own style, which you should get her here for an interview, for a podcast session. I've met Olivia a couple of times, very down to earth, but she has a gift. Shout out to Truvalia over at Nordstrom. Not that I'm trying to refer to another store, but that's just where she works.
No, yeah,
but
she's actually pretty cool.
She's another person that has a gift, and she's able to articulate fragrances in a way that's just very unique to her. So all of that to say, people are learning about fragrances in a much faster. Before they release, sometimes people are learning about fragrances, and it gets put onto their radar. That's what we call when, it's a fragrance we're like thinking about getting. They're like, oh yeah, that's on my radar. Well, it's because they heard somebody talk about it.
That's right. Oh, soon, I think not next week, but end of April, we're gonna have Trivalia here.
Oh, wow.
So
okay, very cool.
Podcast. So last question.
Let's do it.
So looking forward, what excitements or challenges do you see for the fragrance industry in the digital age at this moment?
I feel that we are going to get to a point where we may not have to buy fragrances in the traditional sense. I feel like we're going to get to a point where we have machines in our houses, cartridges, and we pay for the recipe of a perfumer.
I see.
Almost like, you know, like you're paying for like Prime, and then you're able to get that fragrance to wear.
Yeah.
I feel it's coming. I talked about this 5 years ago on my channel, and I got roasted. People were mad. Oh, that goes against the artistry. And the thing is, I'm not saying that we're skipping the perfumer. We're still using the perfumer's recipe. We're still using their craftsmanship, but we're getting the product differently. And I am for that because we don't necessarily need all the bottles. It takes up space. They go bad. It's more expensive. If you're only going to wear a fragrance 10 times a year, why do you need 100 mLs?
Bottles. Yeah. I mean, also with the way that technology and AI is going, you know, and then you can just feed that system, and then, as you said, maybe it has cartridges, inserts, and then it just creates that for you a little bit for that day, depending on your feeling, depending on what you want. Yeah. I mean, I can see it actually.
I mean, the technology already exists for the perfume companies. All right. So if I am working for a perfume house and I'm in New York and I want to collaborate with another perfumer in Paris, right now I plug in that recipe, and his machine in Paris is going to compound that fragrance. I've seen it. It already exists.
Yeah.
So what's to stop it from happening on a smaller scale?
Yeah. Glenn, thank you again for
pleasure.
coming. It was so fun. You know, I think, you know, we could talk for another hour or two, but you know, I think
nice.
You know, it's I always enjoy the conversations with you. And since you're here also, and then we talked about Luke and Elemental Fragrance, I want to do a giveaway. I think right now we have 10 or 7 discovery sets of Elemental Fragrance, which you can, you know, experience the whole fragrance line from Elemental Fragrance. So make sure that you subscribe to the channel, comment, like this video, and also give a follow to Glenn, which is Mr.Cologne 76 on Instagram, and support him. You're gonna love his content. And then in 2 weeks we will announce the winners, and we will ship 7 of the discovery sets, which has, I think, 12 or 14 samples of 7 mLs in it. And then hopefully you're gonna love the Elemental Fragrances, which is, you know, is our favorite, one of our favorite independent perfumers.
Yeah, and you know, like, we didn't talk about this, but like I introduced you to Elemental Fragrance.
That's right.
And
yeah.
I'm so happy to just see the growth of his brand, and I love seeing people, you know, do well.
Sure.
So
yeah, I mean, I'm so happy for him. You know, he was also at Scent Explore, and people loved him. The fragrances, they were always stopping at his booth, and there's a lot of potential. So I know he's gonna be good. Yeah.
And we're in, myself and Luke, we're in talks of, you know, kind of me becoming an official brand ambassador. So, you know, fingers crossed that happens. That'll be a real good you know, thing for myself. I feel like that's another change that's going to happen in the fragrance industry, is, you know, brands really partnering with content creators instead of, you know, celebrities that are so far removed from the conversation in fragrance community.
That's right.
So,
and it's just about that 20 seconds video, and that's it. Yeah.
You know, so it would be real nice. So yeah.
Sure.
Thank you for having me.
All right, man. Thank you. And we'll see you everyone soon.
All right. Bye, y'all.
Bye.